Hello, North Bellmore. My name is Kaitlyn Corrigan, and I'm so excited to talk to you screen to screen to be able to thank you for this opportunity to join your school team for the 2025-2026 school year as an elementary school teacher. A little bit about me is that I'm passionate, driven, fun, exciting, warm, welcoming teacher who loves Disney. I love to implement magical moments in the classroom. I have 5 years experience of school-related jobs in the past 5 years, including summer, and I am New York certified in early childhood education and childhood education. I also am currently pursuing my master's in literacy. In the classroom, I always base my days around connection. I think that connection and getting to know the students and building trust with your students really builds a classroom community. The first thing I do is I'm going to learn every single student's names as fast as I can. This really builds that teacher to student relationship. I have researched and I've looked at North Bellmore and I have fallen in love with the school. I'm locally here in Long Island, so I felt immediately a connection to North Bellmore's mission about confident students and passionate learners with courage. And what especially spoke to me was the creativeness that I could see from North Bellmore School District. I could really see the creativeness in the work, in the projects, in the art they're creating. I could set apart myself from others with my great skills in technology. I have a dual degree in my bachelor's in information technology and educational computing. So I use my background knowledge in regards to using gamification in the classroom and presentation media. Using platforms like Canva, I can use them on the computer, but I could also bring it out of the computer and use it in anchor charts and using it for different students' special needs that they need. With gamification in the classroom, I do utilize games a lot in the classroom. I have special passions with Kahoots for review games. I also use the platform Polivy. That's Poll Everywhere. It's something I could use while I'm explicitly teaching. Students can interact with me while I'm teaching the lesson, whether it's a CBC lesson and I have some couple questions as I'm presenting, students can use with a technology platform, or they can go home and review it using Poll Everywhere. Classroom routines are the foundation of how I build community. At the start of the year, I'm going to use warm-ups, do-nows, and exit tickets to learn about my students through personal questions. As the year progresses, it's going to be more content-based, but I want to respond to my students directly. I want to find our similarities and our differences. This could be on a note, index cards that they turn into my desk, or classroom bingo, or quick chats. I just want to show that I truly listen and care and make that welcoming environment just feel through all of us. Every morning, I greet my students at the door, so I give them a handshake or a high five or a hug, and even sometimes a special celebration or welcome. They're so excited to see me in the morning, and it's just, I don't know, these greetings always turn into a meaningful conversation where I find out so much about the student. All students want to check, all students want to be talkative and really share their day and what they did, and it's just, if I give every student that little bit of time in the day, it's going to really bring that positive tone. I also want the students to know me, so I share pictures and different things throughout my day, but the big one is my golden doodle Luna. She features a wolf of the week. It's like a fun fact or a little quote that I have. It's a poster and it just shows different things that, oh, Luna's looking at you, she's seeing, she's looking, and it just sort of bring that positive vibe. And it's just like, ha, this is silly. So I don't know, these little touches of magic just make it playful and welcoming. And I invite students to personalize their own space too as well. We start with a writing notebook that I had since my childhood, and they could put photos and their favorite things on the cover. And I just feel like that just brings in their own space to their classroom. This is not my classroom. This is everybody's classroom. Positive reinforcement is the way I run my classroom. So we'll build a reward system together where students will vote for fun incentives like an extra art, like clay time in my room, or themed lessons like a Starbucks math lesson or show and tell. And the goal for me is for every child to be seen and valued and just proud of their growth. So really voting and helping them get incentivized will help my classroom community, whether it's physical or emotional. I'm going to have students be able to have that time. So now I'm going to move into my 40-minute lesson in math. I'm going to specifically go into a third grade lesson so I can give you some examples on area. So I'm always going to open my lessons with a 5-minute inquiry-based question that the students are going to complete individually on their own without talking to anyone around them. This is my entrance ticket, you could call it, and it's just going to help me gauge every single student's understanding of what they already know before we start the lesson. This is going to help me guide my lesson from there. Next, I'm going to go into the learning objective and the New York State standards. They're going to go hand in hand, they're buddies, and we're going to connect our learning to the standard and making a real world purpose. I always like to activate prior knowledge by hooking them. So usually I have this crazy example. So for this lesson, we have a Stanley cup in our hand, one of those big metal cups with a handle, and it drops on the floor and it completely breaks the hallway outside of our classroom. We have to find the area to repair the hallway floor. So I like to hook the student interest. During that time, I'll ask questions about length, width, different terms, vocabulary terms that students might know to help get their brains going into math. I'm gonna then go into an explicit whole class instruction. I I can model the concept of area in about 10 minutes, and I'm going to always use manipulatives. So I'm going to have square tiles, maybe some graph paper, maybe have the worksheet that we're doing up so that the students can see exactly what we're doing and what path we're taking. I usually use an I do, we do, you do framework to scaffold this lesson and promote the students' confidence. This is going to lead us into a 15-minute hands-on learning, my favorite, small group activity or partner work, or they're moving around like a scavenger hunt. I need students to be up and moving and really grasping the concept after we do that 10-minute lesson all together with whole class, so I know that we can design something together. The design I'm talking about more is we're thinking about area. They got to make their own apartment. So we'll calculate the area of different shapes using center materials or different things on our table. All throughout this, we're going to differentiate. So struggling learners are going to receive support with me. So if they need to get pulled during the time we have the hands-on activity, they can get pulled with me, and or I can rotate around them and help them. ELL students, English language learners, might have vocabulary visuals or realia for them to have alternate instructions and diagrams to show them what steps they need to take. With this in my classroom too, I also really reach out to the content teachers as well and the special teachers to help guide these students and what their needs are. And we're really working as a team as well as the parents. Advanced students who are a little bit higher skilled, I'm going to give them a challenge. Maybe design their own spaces or something else, or have a peer discussion is something I utilize a lot. Helping a student who's lower pair up with a higher student to really help them teach in maybe a different way. I was going to close my lesson with an exit ticket, discussion, or something that just really checks their understanding if I can. So I want them to return materials smoothly and having that transition and just really, okay, the end of the lesson here, this is what I learned, this is what I need, this is my glow, this is my grow, go from there. Now we're going to go into my 40-minute reading lesson. Every class that I want to have is going to have a literacy rich environment. I love reading. I think it's the basis of everything. And I want students to build both the love of reading and their foundational skills in comprehension and fluency, phonics, phonemic awareness. I want them to get those 5 pillars in there. So my lesson block is going to begin with a short whole group phonological awareness warm up and maybe have like a mini warm up. Maybe it's vowel teams or using a certain curriculum. We'll go through that way. Next, we're going to have a 10-minute read aloud. That's really going to start my block. That's going to be the start of it. I really like a read aloud. I think it really builds the classroom together. Maybe like a Kevin Hankey's book we'll go with for first grade. I'm going to introduce 3 to 4 tier 2 vocabulary words. I'm going to have an anchor chart that has visuals and kid friendly definitions, and me talking and maybe having some examples. And as I read, I'm going to go through the book, find those vocabulary words, and model how to think aloud and build comprehension to encourage students to make those text to self, text to nature, text to world connections, pausing and discussing key concepts. Then we're going to move on to the next part of the center, and we're going to do 3 to 4 literacy centers on a visual schedule that students will be routined into. This can include independent reading, partner reading, computer curriculums. It could be sight word games, reading prompts, and maybe even like a phonics game. So just having centers aligned with New York State standards and maybe the science of reading to build fluency, vocabulary, and comprehension. While students are at those centers, I'm going to pull 2 small groups for targeted guided reading instruction. These groups are based on reading levels and focusing on decoding, fluency, comprehension strategies, and it's going to be different groups based on their levels. I'm going to differentiate again for each learner if they need sentence starters or visuals or vocabulary or higher level text for those higher level learning. I want my classroom to feel structured, student-centered, and purposely aligned to the best practices in early literacy. My students are always going to be engaged and are always going to be using multiple resources and strategies to grow as readers. I have so much more to say, and I'm definitely going to go over this 10 minutes. So if you want to see any more of me and my thoughts, I do have a QR code that might be here or at the end of this video, that you could see so much more of my insights and what I think. Again, I really want to thank you again for this interview, and I hope you have a great day and a great rest of your week. Bye.